Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the final week of our course. We are 7 weeks in now, and I know you're getting ready to wrap things up and getting that much closer to completing your degree. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you, and we'll go over a few things that we have for this week. Considering it's a week 7, it's not too terribly difficult, at least in my opinion, but let's take a look at some things and see what you think. So here we go. We're going to just dive right into our discussion. We have a discussion. We have an assignment for this week. And so your discussion question this week isn't really a question. It's just more of a prompt. Define and explain the relationship between the components of curriculum development. So that can sound a little vague. And so what I want to recommend to you is to visit this website, which is actually, I'm going to show you where this is located at. We go into our course room and you go to Module 7, you go to your lecture materials and resources. And in here, you'll see that there are 2 different articles to look at. I want you to take a look at this one right here. It's the first bullet point. And the article is Curriculum Instruction Assessment and Standards. So it's this chapter in the book. And it kind of goes through a couple of different things as far as, what curriculum is and isn't, and it talks about the teacher's role and just some of the things that are kind of related to curriculum. And so as you look through this chapter, I really think that this is what's going to help you with this particular prompt. And so while it may not necessarily specifically say components of curriculum development, I would say that that can be your guide, or at least get you kind of up and running as far as the information that you need to be able to complete this prompt. So again, it's to define and explain the relationship between the components of curriculum development. As always, it's 200 words, 2 scholarly references, 2 peer responses. Now let's talk a little bit about due dates, because if you look in the course room, you're going to notice for this assignment and for your regular assignment for week 7, the due dates have changed. So it tells you that the initial post is due on Thursday, and your two peer responses are due by Friday. And then for your week 7 assignment, it also says that the due date is Friday. And so I kind of found that interesting. That's a change, something I hadn't seen before. And so, I've told you this from the beginning as I have made modifications to the different assignments in this course, that I try to make those modifications based on what would be in the best interest of you as the student. So when I look at the due date as Friday, I'm trying to come up with the why. If it was because the week 7 assignment was so big, it was going to take me multiple days to be able to grade it and get that information to you in a timely manner, that would be one thing. There could be several different reasons, but honestly, I couldn't come up with a single good one. I know for many of you, you're probably starting to gear up, getting ready for school, which means it's becoming a busier time for you. So you don't need that added pressure necessarily put on you if there's not a legitimate reason for it. So that's my really long way of saying that I'm not going to make your due dates Friday. I'm going to keep your due dates the same as they always have. One, because I think that'll reduce confusion for you and prevent people from having deductions. So keep in mind when you submit your assignment, that it will probably say that it's late, but don't worry, I'm not going to penalize you unless you submit it past Monday, which we'll discuss that in just a minute. But the other reason is that I want you to be able to turn in the best quality product, and if you need a couple of extra days to do that, life's busy, I understand that. So if it's not necessary to have you submit it on Friday, I'm not going to make you. So just keep in mind that although in the course room it says that your peer responses are due on Friday, I will be expecting them by Sunday, okay? Remember, it's the last day of the class on Sunday too, so that's kind of like the due date period for things. So anyway, just want to clarify that on the week 7 discussion. So the week 7 assignment, once again, I didn't find this to be like an assignment that's going to be very difficult to be able to complete. It's not like you're typing a 14-page paper or anything like that. It's actually broken down into 2 parts, and we'll cover those in just a second. But so in general, there are 4 domains needed to develop curriculum: curriculum, assessment, standards, and instruction. Okay? And so you've got 4 questions here that I want you to be able to answer through what we're going to discuss here. Is one of the 4 a driving force? Are all equal players? How do you begin to design curriculum? And are there any factors missing? So just kind of keep that in mind as we look through what you're going to do here. So what you're going to do is you're going to create a visual representation of how you believe these 4 domains interact to build curriculum. You'll demonstrate how you believe how these processes occur. So what you want to do here is we're going to go back to those 4 domains there. Whoops, wrong way. There we go. The 4 domains, curriculum, assessment, standards, and instruction. So visually, you're going to represent how they interact with each other to build curriculum. And so you can use a drawing tool, and there's a couple of different applications out there that you probably already have that you don't realize have drawing tools, or maybe you do realize, and that's great. There's also, I know, a lot of other cool things. There's so many things out there that you can build on. But a couple of them I might recommend would be Microsoft Word for starters. There's drawing tools in there that you can use, and you can make things like Venn diagrams, flow charts, bar graphs, all kinds of sorts of things like that. And they're pretty easy to do too, okay? And then the other might be PowerPoint as well, where you a lot of times have those same tools. Microsoft Publisher is also another one. So depending on that Microsoft Office suite, you'll have a couple of drawing tool options that you can look at. And I don't care which one you use. I want you to kind of think about it like this, is if you are going to print off a one-page sort of pamphlet to somebody, which would include a visual representation of these 4 domains and how they interact with each other to build curriculum. That's what I'm looking for, something that would fit on one page, okay? And it should be something that makes sense when you look at it, all right? And so if you do it through Microsoft Word, you can attach the second part along with it and have just one document to submit. If you decide to do it through like PowerPoint or Publisher or something else, you'll have 2 documents to submit because you have a second part to this assignment. And so that second part is to write an explanation of the process that addresses the roles of each domain in the curriculum development. Okay, so this is where you're going to essentially answer those 4 questions and at the same time kind of break down your visual representation. So this is going to be the narrative version of your visual representation. Within that, I want you to strive to answer those 4 questions. Now, this is a narrative. So I want you to really break out your master's level professional writing skills when you do this. This doesn't have to be very long. The paper needs to be APA format, of course, and it needs to be about 2 pages in length, and that's excluding your title page and your reference page. And yes, you'll have both of those because you're going to need to incorporate at least 5 scholarly references from the last 5 years. You know kind of how that thing works. You've done it before in this class and other classes with me. So that's what I'm looking for here. So it's not a lot that you have to write, and so you actually have a lot of information you need to get into 2 pages. I want you to keep it succinct. I want you to keep it at 2 pages. Don't go over that. You need to be able to write succinctly at times, and this is a great opportunity for that. Plus, nobody really wants to write super long papers anyway. So you've got 2 parts to this assignment. One is a visual representation, and one is going to be your written narrative. Go back again, to those 4 questions. And remember your 4 domains of curriculum. And so you're going to need to do a little bit of research to run it, kind of get a feel for what these 4 domains are really all about. And then you can add in some of your own thoughts. But remember, do not write this in the first person, okay? So, but once again, like I said, break out those professional writing skills. Go search for your scholarly evidence, get all that included, and then along the way, be thankful that it's not due on Friday, because in the course room it does say that this assignment is due on Friday, but I'm telling you, if you look at the very last bullet point, due on Sunday, okay? So along the way, if you have any questions, let me know. If I was doing this assignment, the first thing I would do would be to gather my research. The next thing I would do would be to start getting familiar with the drawing tool that I want to use, and start kind of playing with that and figuring out how I want that visual representation to go, because for some people that's been the thing that can cause them to kind of get writer's block because they're kind of bogged down in something new they have to do there. And then the writing part actually should be pretty easy for you. Just remember to include your 5 scholarly references from the past 5 years. And that's it. That's what you've got for this week. So you've got a couple of different sources to utilize out there, but overall it shouldn't be too bad of a week for you. Just a reminder that the course ends on Sunday, so there is no submitting it beyond Sunday. After Sunday, you know, I put in the grades on Monday, and I'm moving on with the next part of my St. Thomas journey as well. So please make sure that you submit your paperwork by Sunday. If you submit it any later, it may not get graded. Remember, as always, the same rules apply for your discussion posts due on Thursday, 2 peer responses due on Sunday. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. Please remember to reply after you finish watching this video. And good luck to everybody out there. You're getting that much closer. You're almost finished, so keep at it. And it's been great seeing all of you again. And best of luck in this upcoming school year. Take care.